Hey guys, thank you very much for tuning in. We're starting season 2 of Influencers Network with our friend Simone Jennifer Smith. Now, of course, we're doing this online because of the current situation with coronavirus COVID-19. So it's a bit different format than we used last year, but hopefully it's still good, still engaging. And
Yes.
Simone, thank you for participating. How have you
Of
been?
course. I've been good. This is I think my views on COVID-19 and coronavirus might be a little bit different from others,
Okay,
but um I know that it's a struggle for a lot of people right now.
right.
For me, it's been a little bit different.
Okay,
A little
so
bit
we're gonna get
different.
to that. Don't get into it just yet. But
I
first, tell
will.
us a little bit about yourself. I know you work at my TCN TV right now. Tell us
Okay,
what you do
yes.
there and how you found that role.
Okay, so there's a few different hats that I wear. So I'm the founder of Here to Help, which is a community development company that was established 2012. And with that, right now, we're really focused on education because, as you know, everything is going online for education.
Mm,
And it's a huge transition that a lot of people are not prepared for.
right.
So slowly but surely, throughout the last couple of weeks, we've been kind of updating people on how to prepare for this properly, how to switch over to homeschooling because I don't think we're going back to school anytime soon. So
Right.
just offering that service of not just helping them with the transition, but of course, if their students still need help, we're there. Okay.
Okay.
There's the mental health aspect of that, but we'll put that aside to the second as well, or just for a
Okay.
second.
All right.
Then there's Toronto Caribbean newspaper. So with that, I'm the chief reporter and operations manager, which means that my role is to find stories that are not all doom and gloom
Hmm.
because when you turn on the news now, all you hear is how many people have died,
Yep.
how many people it's affecting, what's shut down now, where you can't go, what you can't do, people who are getting fined. It's a lot of negative.
Right.
So my role with the paper is to make sure I find information that's a little bit more uplifting,
Okay.
something that's not going to just be about doom and gloom. Same thing with my TCN TV network. I'm a host on 2 shows there. So the first show is Here to Help You, which
Okay.
is affiliate to my company Here to Help, and I do that show with my partner Dave Rankin. And then In the Now, which is interestingly enough, I will tell people if you go back to January on my shows In the Now,
Mhm.
I was talking about COVID-19 then, and
Really?
nobody wanted to listen.
Are you serious?
I'm being serious. I have shows that was talking about it from the very beginning
Mhm.
of this whole thing. Grant, the owner, him and I used to have a lot of discussions about it earlier this year. I
Right.
mean, very beginning of January, and he had already predicted that this was going to be bad. So we started talking about it, giving the news, but people are
Yeah.
just like, "No, we don't. It's in
Wow.
China.
You could have
Nah,
saved us all.
right?" So, like, I don't know. I wish some people had listened, but
Right. Right.
it's okay.
Wow.
Hindsight is 2020.
So the first thing I want to ask you about is here to help, or here to help you. Sorry. So in terms of the online education and helping people to adjust to online education, why is it a struggle, and how do you think we can make it easier for people to adjust to learning on the internet?
Okay, so the number one thing is the fact that a lot of people don't understand the digital platform. So
Mhm.
people are the Ontario government did a great job. They're sending out all these free apps, all these free shows. Everything is free, a lot of free information, which
Right.
is great if you were born in Canada, you can speak English well, right? All those things into consideration. And even people who can do that, who has the time, who's never done it before, to sit down and teach their children?
Hmm.
That is very difficult to do. First of all, parents are dealing with their own stresses, they're dealing with their own anxieties. Imagine now thinking, I am now in charge of my child's education. Imagine the pressure that
Right.
that must
On top
be.
of the job they may be doing still.
Right. If they're working from home, they have to think about their schedule as well, all the other worries, all the other anxieties, the news. So for us, a lot of people have been a little bit resistant to the idea of going digital, but
Mhm.
we understand it's like everything else. When something is new, it's hard to change.
Of
But
course.
we know that parents are going to need the help. There is no denying it. You're not going to be able to do it by yourself. If you
Right.
try, I'm not going to say you're going to fail, but help would be so much better if you just got a little bit of help. So that's what we're doing with that
Okay.
service. It's just helping people adjust to the digital revolution that we got kicked into
Mhm.
and realizing that life as we know it, even for education, is going to change forever.
Of course. So in terms of the parents out there who are again trying to balance doing their from home jobs and entertain their young children or teach their young children, how can they find that balance? What can they do to make it easier to still do their work and keep their kids from driving each other crazy?
So, probably the number one thing I enforce, and I just put a post up on Instagram.
Mhm.
I've done about 20 different tasks this morning before our interview.
Right.
The number one thing, I don't have children, so it's a little bit different. But for parents, I will say you need to build routines.
Okay.
You've got to treat this like you would any other day, but with obviously the alterations of you being home and the kids being home.
Mhm.
So setting strong routines for your children. So saying, you know what, from let's say 9 into 11, guys, you guys either find a book for read, I'll put your assignments in front of you, whatever the case might be. You're getting stuff from Google Classroom now. I want you sitting down for those 2 hours to get that work done.
Mhm.
We'll have our lunch. Meanwhile, you know what, as a parent, I always tell parents, you are the best example. Sit your children where you are working. Let them see what it looks like to work.
Okay, so have them in that same space with you.
Yes. And you know what? I'm sorry if your children drive you crazy, that might be a parenting issue you have to take care of, right? That's
Right.
something on you. But you
Right.
have to learn how to work at this point and
Mhm.
coordinate that time with your children. You know what? You could say to them, listen, do all of your work, and maybe in an hour, I'll check in with you, right? So that you can still do what you're doing and then check in with your child. Say, okay, you know what? Let me spend 20 minutes just explaining what you didn't understand, giving them little tasks like that to do.
Mhm.
Okay, give them their time to go play. It's very important. Listen, if they want to play Xbox, or I don't know what these kids play anymore. Oh,
So,
Roadblocks and
right.
all them things, all those type of things. Minecraft. If they want to do that, let them do it for a couple hours, because right
Mhm.
now kids are under a lot of pressure too. These changes are huge for them,
Right.
right? They don't know how to adjust, and they're seeing you probably trip out, which is making them trip out because mom doesn't feel safe.
Of
Mom
course.
doesn't look very secure. Dad doesn't look very secure. So they're dealing with a lot of pressures too. So you need to
Mhm.
let them just be kids right now. Like if they want to play and go cause havoc, go in your room, close the door. I don't want to hear you for 2 hours. Do what you're
Right.
doing, right? But I'm going to check back with you. And then again, it depends on how your life looks and how your work schedule looks. For some people, maybe working during the day may not be a good idea. Maybe
Mhm.
for you, you know what, checking your emails and staying on top of it, but maybe focusing on your children for that time and then working at night, taking the
I see.
nighttime where it's quiet to do any type of like creative work or serious work. It's going to take adjustments. It's
Mhm.
different for everybody.
I see. So you mentioned that the parents might be tripping out while their kids are watching them. Kind of watch the news, you see the numbers of death tolls going up. Uh,
Yes,
the length of time that we're going to be stuck inside is going up as well, or it
absolutely.
fluctuates. So, what have you heard in terms of people potentially losing some of that mental health from
A,
being stuck?
a lot of anxiety. That's probably the number one hearing, is the fear, the uncertainty, the unknown. And I get it. Again, I think the biggest thing with that, I'm going to tell everybody, filter your information.
Okay.
It is very important. I'm not saying to sit there and not know what's going on. You need to be aware of what's happening, things that are changing, but
Mhm.
filter your news. As much CNN or Toronto Tribune newspaper, actually, we're the good ones. So let me put this to the side.
No, of
So
course.
as much as like CNN and some of these other platforms are pushing out the negative all the time, find a way to balance that with some positive information.
Okay.
Take a step away and use this time again for self development. I'm on that huge right now. Like, you're going to have to learn how to face yourself. There's going to be a lot about you that you learn. This fear
Mhm.
is not just the COVID-19. Some of this fear is shit. Oh my gosh, this is who I am. I've had time. I'm not just going, I'm not in traffic. I've had time to start thinking about myself. Do I even like my job?
Really? So it's a self discovery period as well, and discovering who you
Yes.
live with too.
And that's another thing. I'm
Mhm.
hearing a lot of people who are like, I see articles like how to put up with your mate, or when I see those things, I'm like, if you're talking about putting up with your mate at this point, that's another question you may find,
Right.
right? You're going to learn a lot about the people that you live with, that you're
Mhm.
working with, because we are right now with them. We can't go anywhere. You may escape for like a couple hours, maybe you go outside for a walk, but
Right.
right? So it does, it's a lot. It is a lot, and it's a lot to unpack, but you've got to figure out ways strategically how to do that. And again, reach out to people who can help you connect.
Right.
Very important.
I heard a phrase that said something along the lines of, wherever you go, there you are. So you're always going to be the same person no matter what environment you're in. So this is the
You
best.
can't escape.
You can't escape it. But on that note, last time we spoke, you mentioned that you had kind of two personalities to yourself, the Simone side and the Jenny side. How does
Yeah.
the other side of you take all this news and the situation as well?
Wow. So, interesting. Speaking of mental health,
Right.
um, I actually had a pretty tough time last week. I was struggling with my addictions.
Okay.
Um, that's probably the best way to put it is like I actually went through a period of withdrawal. I felt all the symptoms, the nausea, the headaches. Like I was feeling not great,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's the Jenny side. She doesn't like being locked in. She wants to
Be
right.
free, of course.
So that's difficult for me. How have I've adjusted. I've done the things I need to. I do the things I know work for me. I'm a
Mhm.
person who I believe in tones. So vibrational tones. I don't know if you've heard of tones. Have you
No,
heard of
I'm not.
you should look this up. So tones are something that I use, and you can go on YouTube and find them.
Mhm.
We work on frequencies, right?
Okay.
So there's certain frequencies that, if played, can help deal with certain parts of your brain and how you think and how you feel. So
Mhm.
I actually did that. I put on some tones to help deal with my anxiety and some of the addictive feelings and the all of that I was feeling, and it worked. So it's again, but I know myself.
Right.
What's good for me is not good for everybody else. But during this time, you can discover what works for you with help. You can discover what works for you and how to deal. Because I tell everybody, if we get through this, you can pretty much get through anything. I've already been here before. I've already lost everything. So this for me,
Mhm.
I'm I'm chilling in my
Nothing
chaos
new.
because I've
Yeah.
already been here, right? I've already suffered loss. I lost my home. I had no money in my bank. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been
Mhm.
there before. So this isn't as burdensome on
Be
me
prepared for
as
this.
it is. I'm prepared because I've already been here. But in saying that, for people, if they can find ways to get through this, if they could be strong enough to get through this, anything that comes up going forward, easy. Because
Right.
you know how to do it. You know how to, you've gotten through the struggle. If you did it once, you'll do it again.
Of course. Interesting. So how is the Caribbean News Network handling all this as well?
You know what? We are, I'll say this, we are doing very well because we realized, again, we've been talking about this since January. So
Right.
we weren't surprised. We switched over to digital, like within a week of everything locking down, we were already online.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been really, really good. Even for our advertisers, yes, there's been some like people are scared, but we have found ways to improve things. Even for our
Mhm.
advertisers, we found ways to improve things, right? Like now for them, if you go on our newspaper and click on their ad, it goes straight to the website. It's like you have to learn how to adjust. And again, we
Of
wouldn't have
course.
been able to do that if we weren't prepared,
Right.
right?
That's good. So you guys were way ahead of the curve from a long time, a few months at least.
Lo- months ago,
Right.
months ago.
That's fantastic. And so for yourself, what are your plans going forward? Assuming all of this clears up, let's say clear up tomorrow, what would your next plans be for yourself, your career going
The
forward?
same thing that I'm doing now.
Mhm.
This never stopped me.
Right.
Like honestly, and I'm gonna say this, COVID-19 might just be the best thing that ever happened in my life
Really?
because it's allowed me to do more for my business. It's allowed me to, again, excel in an area where other people are kind of all over the place.
Mhm.
I'm very like, right?
The cruising.
So I've never stopped. I'm still doing, I still want to be known. I've said it and I'm going to say it again.
Mhm.
I want to be known as one of the greatest writers of all time. I'm going to say that. I enjoy writing. I enjoy sharing information. I enjoy sharing knowledge. So that's not going to stop.
Right.
Uh, Learning how to do new things. I'm taking some photography classes online,
Very
right?
cool. Okay.
Learning a different language. Every now and then with my French, I start, then I stop. But now I have no choice because I have time,
Of
right?
course.
So I'm going to actually like continue my Rosetta Stone earphones. See, I'm actually going to do it.
Right. Good.
Um, but yeah, I haven't really slowed down. If anything, I'm pushing more. I want to show people that you can get through crisis. But the
Mhm.
only way to show people sometimes is if they see it for themselves. Talking about it, writing about it, even like Instagram with the fake watches and all that type of stuff. No, people need to see the struggle.
Right.
And then when they see you do this, it's like, okay, so it is possible.
It's a lot
That's
more
why,
realistic of a journey to follow.
yes,
Mm.
that's why people love those success stories. Everyone loves the rags to riches stories because it's like, okay, we saw the struggle. We like to hear that people like Steve Harvey had to sleep in his car. You know what I'm saying? Tyler
Mhm.
Perry, same thing, homeless, right? Look at them now,
Of
right?
course.
So, and they've gone through crisis. They've also experienced loss, right? So people like us who have gone through that, we just have to set an example. And that's what I'm doing now. If anything, I want to set more of an example.
Yeah. So just a couple more questions for you. Why do you think it is that people don't want to share that part of their stories now? It seems like when they succeed, they'll talk about the bad times afterwards, but not as they're going through it.
Because sometimes people are just going through it and they don't want to talk about it. Like, I think that's just the biggest thing. Sometimes we just have to push through. Like, we can't see the end of the tunnel until we're through it. And
Right.
when we're in the darkness, sometimes it's just dark. So
Right.
we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to share it because it's not pretty sometimes, right? It don't look very nice.
Fair enough. All right. Now, how can people get a hold of you if they want to talk about mental health, if they want to read some of your articles or get in touch?
Oh gosh. So you can go on Google and put in Simone Jennifer Smith. Everything will come up. I'm all over the internet. If you don't find a video, you'll find some article, you'll find some posts, you'll find a motivational comment, you'll see me smiling somewhere. I
Right.
am everywhere. Just put in Simone Jennifer Smith and you can find me and reach out to me. I'm asking people to reach out to me. This is where I excel. I am great in chaos and I can help you through chaos because it's possible. Look
Okay.
at me smiling. I've done 17 things this morning to get
Best
ready
time
just
ever.
before this interview,
Of
right? Life is
course.
great. So,
Okay. And the last question, when we spoke last time, you mentioned that for your chosen superpower, you were inspired by Purple Man from the Jessica Jones stories.
mhm.
Is that still the case, or do you have a new favorite superpower now?
I have a new one. His
Okay.
name is Gravedigger.
Who's that?
so, so Gravedigger, if you've watched anyone who knows Black Lightning, so he's a DC
Okay.
Black super. Okay, so there is a super villain at the end. Again, another villain,
Right.
and he also has the power to persuade and to
Okay.
control minds.
Okay.
So I didn't switch the power; I just switched the person.
The inspiration's changed. I like that. All right, Simone Jennifer Smith, thank you very much for your time.
Of course, of course.
Has questions for you, I'll send them your way, okay?
Thanks so much, Mark.
All
Good
right.
luck with the rest of these, eh?
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right. We'll talk to you
Bye.
very soon.
Okay, bye.